welcome to Bingemas, a 12-part holiday special here on the Ringer Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jodi Walker, and we are on day 8 of binging this year's best original holiday offerings with all of your Ringer faves. And today that means A Grand Ole Opry Christmas, a movie, I kid you not, about a trigger-happy, time-traveling pew that lets you talk to your dead dad about your dead dad and sometimes write time-traveling songs with him. It is also a movie about dreams deferred. It is also a movie about that thing where people recreate videos of their dead parents using AI, and you're kind of like, okay, but is this healthy? Is this a good idea? And I honestly don't know. I'm really asking. And to answer those questions and break down this movie with me, I could only turn to the Ringer's resident philosopher, my fellow Southerner, and actual journalist, and newest bestie of Bingemas, Tyler Parker. Merry Bingemas. How the hell are ya?
Merry Bingemas. How could I not be anything but incredible after watching a classic such as this? Thank you for having me. Thank you for making me aware of this movie and that it exists, because I haven't really, I would not say that I am a connoisseur of the genre, and I
Tell
didn't
me
know
about
that,
it.
I didn't know they were doing it
your familiarity
I didn't know they
was.
were doing it like this. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that we had gone to, because like you say, it's a melting pot of different things and genres and ideas. So there's a lot happening here.
I mean, you have really gotten a doozy. And Tyler, I gave you a doozy. I knew you could take it. I wanted you here for this specific one. When I said time-traveling pew, I said I'm getting Tyler Parker. And sure, was part of it that we are both Southern and this was a movie about country music, and I felt like we could handle it while really having no idea what we were getting into. But just so you know, I do want to know your relationship with original holiday movies, but just so you know, to have someone be this dead and do this much time traveling is like, we really got the we got the ultimate in terms of fulfilling the Bingemas rubric.
I mean, to have the dead dad, time traveling daughter stuff, and the long lost love. We've been friends for so long and we can't bring ourselves to tell each other how we feel. To get both of those things in one swoop, just incredible work by Hallmark.
Nothing is more difficult in a Hallmark movie than being too attractive, successful, well into their life people with nothing holding them back, no other significant others who are just having the hardest time in the world letting each other know how they feel.
I felt so bad for them. I'm so happy they were able to overcome their various hurdles and smooch in the end. I was just thrilled for them.
Thank goodness for the smooch. Before I give the sort of official description of the movie, I guess I should ask you 2 questions that I did not ask you before you completely, wholeheartedly agreed to do this. What is your relationship with original holiday movies, your familiarity? And what is your relationship with country music, of which I have just submitted you to a lot?
My relationship to original holiday movies is pretty non-existent, I would say. I'm not seeking them out. I've not been that interested in them in the past. I have 2 little sisters, and my youngest sister is a massive fan of the genre and consumes a lot of them. I think that Netflix is her preferred delivery system for these.
Slightly higher budget there, we can say.
I'll take your word for it on that. I'm happy that I've finally dipped a toe in, because I do think it'll make me curious to explore, what some of these other screenwriters and directors of these things, because there's a lot of audaciousness in this movie.
The pins are positively on fire. Yeah, they are taking, as we say at the Ringer, some big swings.
Yeah. My relationship to country music is far more extensive. Like, that was what I listened to. My parents were deeply religious, and it was a lot of Christian contemporary music in the car growing up. other than that, it was country music. And then once I started being able to drive around, it was a lot of rap and a lot of country if I had control of the radio.
And then once you really started being able to drive, it was a lot of Christmas country music, which is its own genre in the film.
I mean, I would be, you're joking, but I would be lying if I said I haven't spun Casey Musgrave's Christmas album a lot.
Hell yeah. You're also bringing something really clarifying to me, saying that your sisters love these movies. Sasha's sister also loved these movies. And there's like a certain genre of TV that I call like brother TV, like all brothers watch Yellowstone. And I think all sisters watch original holiday movies.
That feels true to me.
Let me hit you with, once again, a wildly long Hallmark synopsis that I have edited down, I promise. Gentry Wade, daughter of late country music icon Jet Wade, abandoned her dream of a songwriting career and distanced herself from her father's legacy following, and I would like to put a pin in this for us, Tyler, his tragic accident 30 years prior.
Good to know.
Good to know. Guess we'll touch down on that.
Yeah.
When the 30 years prior, when the Grand Ole Opry invites her to represent Jet at their centennial celebration at Christmas, she's hesitant to return until she visits the Opry, and while seated in one of its church pews, is suddenly transported to 1995 along with her lifetime friend, Mac. Thanks to some Christmas magic, and Opry magic, that's a personal edit, Gentry gets precious time with her father, creative inspiration to finish the song she began decades earlier as a teen, and learns surprising answers to questions about her father that have followed her for the last 3 decades.
Yes.
Any edits? Mine is that it, like we said, no one's ever been more dead in this movie than this dad. And we do go back and visit him when he was living. It took me so long to figure out that he was dead, though. Nobody mentions an accident. Am I wrong?
No, I don't remember any mention of an accident. Certainly not a tragic one. At the beginning of the movie, the first time that someone asks her, why'd your dad stop playing music?
Yeah.
There was something about that where I was like, oh, they are kind of talking about him like he's not around anymore. But it didn't immediately register with me that meant that he was dead.
No, and for me, it was kind of the opposite, because I felt like they were being like, why'd your mysterious dad stop playing music? Which made him sound like a recluse in the woods to me.
Right.
Also, this is a whole thing, is that everybody's always asking her this. It's like the question that plagues her life. And that also kind of sets you up to think she hates her dad, but she loves her dad.
Oh, more than anything.
And everyone always asks her this. And I'm like, could one person be like, so sorry for your loss?
Yeah, not a lot of compassion showed. More just like more curiosity. And she seems both like she vacillates wildly between extremely over it and and then this is the central tension of her entire life. You know what I mean? There are some, we're going back and forth, major polarity here.
Oh, yes. And you've never seen someone get on board with time traveling quicker than this gal. We'll get to the specifics, but once she figures out that it is at her availability, she's like, we're doing portals. We are going to the other side. And I have no worries about it.
No worries about it, to the point where she's also okay if they're in an alternate dimension. She's totally open to that as a possibility, and almost seems a little disappointed that that's not what's going on.
Yeah. Yes, because there are lots of times that we'll get to where I do think she's sort of, she wants to change the future, which normally in a time traveling film, we're really big on not affecting the space-time continuum.
No, there's whatever traditional time travel rules exist in popular culture and in movies, they are chucked so hard into the wind on this movie. They do not care if they run into their younger selves. They do not care if they run into relatives who are old enough and still alive in the future, to the point where I kept kind of wondering if when they finally got back from the past and old Rita sees them again, is old Rita going to have some sort of knowing look like, yo, I had a woman stay at my house 30 years ago that looks like, in my head, she looks so much like you.
She ate all my food. She wore all my pajamas. And she stayed at my house. So what I feel like they did, because they treat time travel with like such who cares, we do this all the time, that I actually feel like the plot holes kind of held up. Because I had the same thought. What they do is simply not address Rita by the end. But they do address that Vaughn, the other singer in Winters and Wade, and congratulations on getting Winters into this duo's title.
Huge.
That's what I kept thinking, is the whole time he's talking to a woman we already know he's going to know. We see his older self talking to her, and I'm like, when she comes back, is he going to be like, hey, you look exactly like this record label executive I used to know? And he just does what these movies do best, which is like, it's a little bit of Christmas magic, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it also, not just a record exec who existed in his life at one of the most tumultuous times in his career, and that he finds out himself is not a record exec. That's a story I'm carrying with me. Hey, fellas, did I tell you about the woman who pretended to be a record exec, but she was actually just trying to be a songwriter? Isn't that crazy? And then she disappeared. I never saw her again.
And then I offered her a job. We set up a meeting, and she never showed up.
Yeah, there's so
well, Tyler,
much
I've
of it.
actually been meaning to tell you a little personal anecdote of mine. I am a time traveling record executive, and in fact, we should say how we start off the movie, which is we start off in, I guess I would call it a flashback, but it's almost a flash forward to 1995, where we end up later in the film. Where,
I mean, a little bit of an inside Llewyn Davis moment there. We come all the way back around at the end.
We sure do. They close up every loophole, because actually, before I get into that beginning, something else we talked about, and I want to say, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I had a good time.
I was honestly kind of shocked the whole time that, for as inexplicable and truly ridiculous it is, and as deeply cringy as it can be at times, I did want to see what was going to happen. You know what I mean?
We'll get to this, and you and I don't get to pod a lot together, so you may not know that I'm a bit of a sucker, a bit of a crier. And I had one of these Bingemas moments that I have from time to time, where I got a little weepy, and then I kind of couldn't stop, and then it was like everything about the dead dad was making me cry. I'll tell you later when I got there.
Okay.
But my main edit is that I realized about halfway in, when I was kind of like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
This was called the Grand Ole Opry Extended Cut. Yeah. And there wasn't really an option to watch an unextended cut. This was a long movie. This is a long movie.
Well, my favorite part about that it is called an extended cut is that it is 94 minutes, which to me,
without commercials. So that's a 2-hour TV movie.
Great call. To me, when I think about extended cuts, we're getting up over 3 hours. You know what I mean? We're in generally, that's kind of where I'm at when I hear the words extended cut. So to see something just barely crack over the 90-minute mark called an extended cut, what? A, where's the other one? B, what's in this one that
is there a second VHS tape that I'm missing where the Nazis come? You are in the beautiful land of an 80-minute movie, and I somehow stuck you with a 94-minute movie.
Oh, I'm honestly, you want to give me 2 hours of that, I'm thrilled, honestly.
Well, I'll tell you precisely where I felt those extra 14 minutes was when they started briefly discussing sticking around in 1995 for a while. And I was like, cutting room floor. We do not have time for this.
When that was seriously broached, like that was a plot mechanism and a move that I truly did not see coming. At no point did I think, oh, she's going to get offered a job as a songwriter and then potentially never go back to her time. And the dude's cool with it and is just going to
pushing it.
He was down bad for her if he's willing to do, like, this guy was down bad.
Tyler, I briefly mentioned this, but it is time traveling week on the pod. I talked another time traveling movie with Charles earlier this week.
Love
now
Charles.
We're doing this one. And what I now know is that time traveling male partners are real men. They are real ones. They are ready to support their women and their careers to the end of the space-time continuum. That happened in the last one, and it happened in this one. He was like, he said, let's stay. She said, you have a family, like brothers and sisters. He was like, they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it was such a middle finger to my blood from him. You know what I mean? Like, he did not. There was no thought of, well, maybe she's right. There was no second guessing from him. He was prepared to go into the Grand Ole Opry archive, work there, digitize everything. He was going to be the guy who brought them into the 21st century.
Yeah. He was going to butterfly effect. He was going to fuck up the fabric of time so thoroughly if he stayed. He was going to like invent AI. Like, he was going to invent something that had never been invented and just completely destroy everything.
You know that guy's going somewhere.
Reckless.
That guy's going somewhere trying to invent the iPod. 1,000%. Like, there's no chance he's not. Yeah, Mac was, he was very much in the Jeremy Renner, like, we need to go beat up some people. You can't ask me why. Whose car are we taking? You know what I mean? Mac was, whose car are we taking?
Mac was kind of like a Hallmark archetype of like a big city guy. He's kind of coming back to the small town, and that small town is Nashville.
But it was like they tried to sort of make it that, but then immediately you find out, oh no, he's been back for 5 years. So it's not quite the fish. He's like, I might start saying y'all pretty soon. Dude, you're from here. What do you mean?
You grew up here. You've maybe spent like 10 years in LA. You're not local. This happened in a very similar scenario in a little movie called Holiday Touchdown, A Bill's Love Story, where it's two lifelong friends who have spent their lives apart for various reasons, and then they have been reconnected, and they are falling in love. And what you find out then and what you find out now is that actually they've been reconnected for 5 years. He has been coming to her door and putting his little arm up. Yeah. So when we meet them, we briefly see the movie opens on Winters and Wade playing what we find out was their last Christmas show before the duo broke up. And Wade, Gentry is a woman.
Yes.
She is our main character.
I do want to pause here and say Jet Wade, incredible country musician name.
Oh, yeah. And incredible country musician face. I bought him entirely.
1,000%.
I was, and you never know unless you are really on the country streets, who is a real country star and who is a fake country star and who is a real country star playing a fake country star.
Totally.
Except Brad Paisley, who wrote all of the original music in the movie and maybe wrote the movie. I honestly would not put it past what we've seen today.
I think it's fully possible. I think it's also, there's also something about his, spoiler alert, his appearance at the end and his performance that it was as he had the energy of someone who had forgotten that he agreed to do this. And somebody called him and was like, dude, that's in an hour. You got to do that today.
You gotta absolutely, honestly, revitalize this song. It was like, once I heard the Paisley rendition, I was like, oh, okay, I get how a song goes from songwriting to actually being a song an artist performs. It's way better this way.
No, he threw a little stank on it in a way that was very necessary. Because, I do think it's fair to say, like, I see why Gentry wanted to be a songwriter and not a performer. The voice is fine, but I don't think you're getting to the Opry circle with that voice necessarily. You know what I mean?
This is a voice for audio podcasting, and now we're doing this. Now we're on video. And that is a voice for songwriting.
Yes.
Not a voice. Okay. Did she sing part of it? I honestly can't remember now.
I don't think
the whole movie
I don't think she's saying
for her to get up in that circle, but her dream wasn't to sing. So she was happy to let Brad Paisley do his thing on that. Her dream was to be a songwriter, which we find out in a little bit of exposition when we come into 2025. We know this band broke up. We have no idea who they are. And I will say there were a lot of times where I was like, who are these people to one another? I cannot understand. And one of the first times was then we sort of barrel into her house in 2025. A handsome 6'4" man shows up on the doorstep. He cranks that arm up on the doorframe and he is towering over her. And you're telling me they haven't been fucking for the last 5 years?
He hits the lane. He's that guy has been giving her deep doomy vibes from the moment he got back to town, and he's at a loss for what to do. He's bringing her a wreath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's at a loss.
He has brought her the ugliest fucking wreath I've ever seen that he says was sent to him as incentive to sign a new musician because he is a talent manager.
He's a 5-time manager of the year, which is apparently something.
Which he won a watch for.
Which he also has won without knowing much about country music, yet he was seemingly best friends with the girl whose dad performed regularly at the Opry, and he would go and sit in the family and friend pews, the magic pews. How does he not know about? He's talking about Hank Williams Sr. when they go back in 95. It's like, dude, you do know some stuff. What's happening?
And he gets a little talking to by his friend that he tells he's 5-year management award winner, Mac, who's like, listen, this guy that we are trying to sign, whose name is Rowdy, who is real country singer. Did you look this? He is real country singer, Drew Baldridge. And I know that because he shows him a clip of Rowdy, the guy we're trying to sign, on his phone. And he is singing what is revealed to me via Google to be a real song.
Oh, real song for sure.
I got to tell you two things. One is that Rowdy is described to us as being a traditionalist who is obsessed with country music history and like needs to have that in a talent manager. And so Mac, who grew up in Nashville and grew up going to the Grand Ole Opry and whose best friend's dad is a notable historic country singer, needs to bone up on his music history. And then the song that we hear Rowdy, aka Drew Baldridge, sings is she's somebody's daughter. She's somebody's everything. It is like the most new age.
Yeah.
This sounds like a parody song that Bo Burnham would sing. And it is a real song. And I'm sure I'd listen to it, in your teenage car. But this is Rowdy.
No, 1000%. Like, Merle's not singing "She's Somebody's Daughter."
I can't get it out of my head now. She's somebody's daughter. And then we meet him at the end once Mac has gotten his music knowledge.
But there's no mention from Rowdy in that moment. Mac is not showing any deep knowledge of country music in that moment. He's just talking like, yeah, man, it's a special place, right? The Opry.
Oh, well, there's no quicker route to a person's heart in this film than waxing poetic about the Grand Ole Opry. Which, the way that the Opry music works really, the Opry magic works, really suggests a world where there could be like an entire franchise of Opry original movies.
Thank you for bringing this up. Yes, it felt like Hallmark was basically that the next one is just going to be a Grand Ole Opry Christmas 2. You know what I mean? Like this is what we watched is duplicable for the rest of time if they want.
Oh, yeah. And the Grand Ole Opry has done what many franchises have started to do, which is get in on that Hallmark ticket. The NFL is doing this now with a new team's movie every year. They're basically doing Hard Knocks on Hallmark now. We got a new team every year with Holiday Touchdown. We'll see if they do it a third. Now we're getting the Grand Ole Opry movies. And this is marketing for the Grand Ole Opry that I do feel like I fell for. Maybe more than I fall for the NFL ones.
Boy, I'm not sure I fell for it, Jodi. I don't know.
It's not really like, I mean, I'd like to see it as a piece of history, but like they are just telling you, I mean, I'm going to try out the Magic Pew, that's what I'm going to do.
They definitely make it seem like if you go on a tour at the Opry, you're going to run into no less than 3 country music stars. You know what I mean? They're just kind of like hanging out there with their kids.
Oh, the Opry is like a hostel for country music stars. They're just hanging around, playing video games. Everybody's there, and I didn't know who one of them was.
No, I mean, I knew who Rhett Akins was.
Yeah.
But the other ones, T. Graham something or other.
Yeah.
When in one of the loudest jackets in film history, when he comes and touches his little plaque or whatever and says he says a prayer before he goes on stage, and it honestly felt like the people in the tour were kind of just being nice. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they had any of T. Graham's greatest hits playing around in their heads at that point.
Well, something you should know is that those people are not allowed to talk or they would have to be paid extra money. And so what the real task of a Hallmark extra is to really vigorously nod and figure out how to communicate that they are excited to see Rhett Akins and his son at the Opry without really moving or speaking.
And Rhett and his boy dressed more or less identically. And they give no reason for why they're there. Like Graham the other ones are about to go through sound check or something. There's some explanation as to why they're there. Rhett and his kid are just hanging out, man. They're just they're just there on his day off.
And I'm searching the names now, and I think that gal who was about to go off to sound check, I don't think she was a real country music star. So we are swinging wildly between who is real, who is not, who is Rowdy, who is Drew, and also time travel.
Well, and there's also the wild disparity between like Jamie Johnson is a guy. That's a legend.
Yeah.
And so to see him along with some of these other people who you're right, you must Google to be is this a person? Yeah, and Megan Moroney, for some of this stuff, she's a person. She's known. She's a big deal. But it kind of, some of the times that a country artist would appear in this, it would remind me of some of those commercials that you'll see fringe athletes in, where they're NBA player such and such, how did you get here? You know what I mean? Defensive end Emmanuel Acho, how did you get here?
And I've heard of Megan Moroney, and I think that she is probably quite a popular country star right now. I didn't know she sang this Christmas song, which I don't know if it's premiering on this movie, but it came out in September. I'll tell you who I liked.
Yeah.
Was that old country girl group who I could not believe was real once I looked it up. That Tiger is playing Tiger Lily. If you'd give me a million chances, I never would have known that was how you pronounce that word. Yeah. It's spelled like T-I girl Lily. And so there are just eyes all over the place. I would never have been oh, that's Tiger Lily. It's spelled like Ty Girl Lily, gold. Yeah. And there was just something. So they're performing in the what do you call that kind of bar? These music bars in Nashville.
It was Music Row on Broadway. Yeah. All these big bars have stages where people come play, and it would be very weird for a band who has made it to be playing at one of these bars in the middle of the day.
Well, so as Gentry says, we were just so lucky to get Tiger Lily here in the broad damn daylight to perform their unbelievable Christmas song, which I will be adding to my favorites on Spotify, called
Girl,
Mistletoe Tipsy.
It's already here.
It's already in.
It's already there.
It was a bop. I was like, this song is crazy and I love it. When they said, how had no one ever thought of Fa La 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 Fallen in Love before?
Incredible. It really was one of those songs where you're like, hey, this is a skeleton key right here. They figured some stuff out. Like, this is...
They are playing with sound and word in a way I could have never expected.
One of my favorite because I knew that they were a real thing, but I didn't know enough about them to have any other thought other than, oh, they're real. You know what I mean? So I went and looked them up. They used to be just called Tiger Lily, with all one word, still spelled the same way. Mm-hmm. They added the gold because there were a lot of tiger lilies already in the culture, and they thought it was confusing.
And it kind of doesn't feel like their culture, if we're going to really, go right down into it.
Not even a little bit. And yeah.
They just went ahead and added gold. And they put out a banger of a Christmas song.
It felt a lot like Lady A. The switch to Lady A. Felt a lot like that. Except
kind of less, kind of just adding something and not taking away something. But,
Yeah.
Mistletoe Tipsy has gotten them on the stage of, Broadway Ro's coolest music bar run by Gentry, daughter of this famous musician who is refusing to write songs, even though everyone is begging her to. Mac, the way we find out she's a songwriter is Mac is like, what do I got to do to get you to write a CMA award-winning song? This woman hasn't written a song since she was 22.
And seemingly the one that she's proudest of, she wrote when she started writing when she was 16. You know what I mean? So it's like, when she pulls out the notebook, and it's like summer songwriting camp stickers and stuff, I'm sure those things exist. You know what I mean? But I bet
summer songwriting camp is more prevalent in this movie than the YMCA. It is, people are doing them all the time.
My favorite part about that was that they were only going to go as far as that she went to a summer songwriting camp, and the sticker just says summer songwriting camp. They couldn't bring themselves to name a fake songwriting camp.
Hallmark doesn't do summer. They were like, if we can't put mistletoe song, why didn't they just make it a winter camp? That she was going to, that was my question. Because when they said summer, I said, did they say winter? Because a big thing ends up revolving around, finding out why Jet left this band, and that he wants to spend time with his family, and he's going to this Gatlinburg Christmas trip with his daughter and his wife that he's got to get to from where we've met him in 1995. And why didn't they just make the summer camp then?
I
don't know. They were like, winter songwriting camp is a step too far.
There was so much confusing about this movie, Jodi.
Should we get into the time travel?
Sure, let's do it.
So these two kids, grown kids who are in love with each other and won't even just kiss on the mouth, have grown up going to the Opry. And when there are several countdowns to Christmas here. One is that there is the centennial celebration and also the 30th year celebration of...
Well, there's the 100-year celebration for the Opry Christmas. And then they go back in time and they are on the doorstep of the 70th anniversary of the Opry Christmas. So
and beyond these anniversaries, there are also even more stakes on these countdowns, which is that for the centennial, we really need Gentry to be there to honor Winters and Wade for the 30th anniversary of when they broke up. And they want her there, and she's refusing to go because she always thought that the first time she stepped into the circle that came from the original theater where the Ryman.
Yeah, the original floor, or the original stage there, which also the pews that are on the stage are from the Ryman back when. Yeah.
Are they? Or are they from before the flood?
Maybe. Well, no. So I think the flood is
there's a 2010 flood in the current Opry.
And I think that's where all the pews that like the actual audience is sitting. I think
they
those
had to
pews
replace
were from
those
there.
Pews. I think maybe they brought them from the Ryman. We're getting in the weeds, but
we're getting way in the weeds.
Honestly, it's a pretty pew-based movie.
Extremely.
And you have to keep up with the ebbs and flows of the Opry. And when there is a 2010 flood that knocks out all the pews, they were able to save some and put them up on the stage. And that is where family and friends sit now.
Well, no, but
and
they were
also
always...
then, because they also sat there then. Okay, we finally found a plot hole in the film.
Yeah, before, like, this is going back to something you talked about before when you were talking about the extras and how they're not allowed to talk and all they're allowed to do is just kind of nod. How about the moment where you go back and you see Mac and Gentry sitting on the pew and their kids and all the other people are trying to sort of dance along to the, but like they're not
there's nothing playing.
They're not dancing to the same beat at all.
They're at a silent disco.
Yes.
They are all over the pews, and these little kids are just soaking it all up. And yet, in their adulthood, when we're trying to get her to the Opry to honor her dad and his music partner who he abandoned, and back in the past, there's the time frame of that he basically needs to decide whether he's going to stay or go also by the Christmas celebration, which happens on the 23rd. These two kids who have grown up in the Opry, Mac doesn't know shit about country music. Gentry won't just go up on stage because she always thought she'd get up there as a songwriter. And so Rita, who is the cousin of Jet and also a former Opry employee, or maybe current, seems retirement age, but she's done a lot for the Opry and a lot for us because she said, let me take you on a tour. Let me just get you on a tour and spark that magic again. It's like these people have spent so much time here, but they go on a traditional tour of the Opry.
Incredible performances by old and young Rita. Incredible cast, like perfect casting.
This is like Mamma Mia 2 level casting in terms of young Rita and older Rita.
Rita, at the beginning of the movie, there is a way that she is looking at everyone that she interacts with like she's trying to get in their pants a little bit. There's something sultry about the eyes every time to me. But then when you go back, you're just sort of like, oh, she's just kind of kooky. You know what I mean?
It's all about the hair. It's actually all hair related.
Yes.
Is how big her hair is and the curlers that she wears. And older Rita is played by Sharon Lawrence, like long time character and I think soap actress. And so, of course, she actually is, trying to get in everybody's pants. She is always wearing leopard print and she is getting these, 40-something-year-old kids to the Opry so that they can get back on track. And what should happen, but Gentry gets up on stage. She's happy to be on stage. She does not want to be in the circle until she's written a CMA award-winning song.
Yeah.
She's not on the circle. She sits down in the pew. There is a blinding light, and she briefly time travels back to 1995.
There's a blinding light that comes seemingly exclusively from the lights in the Grand Ole Opry, which other people are reacting to every time.
Other people can see them even if they're not time traveling. It's a great little extended comedy bit where a security guard is trying to get her out of there because once she realizes that she can time travel back to see her dead dad and ideally get an answer to why he left the country music group so suddenly and when he did, which he never just answered for her. But he did die when she was 16, and so she just maybe wasn't asking those questions yet. The only way she can get an answer is via time-traveling pew. And she gets a look in her eye when she realizes she can do this, where no matter what anyone tells her, she's like, I will be time-traveling back in time, and I will be talking to my dead dad.
Oh, she is, the blinders are on. Like one-track mind, there is, nobody is keeping her from 1995 at that point.
Oh, no. And so she sneaks back into the Opry. A security guard tries to stop her. He sees the blinding lights. Then when Mac comes to try and stop her, but she's already gone, he sits down in the pew and sees the blinding lights. And this is when we realize that the time travel, unlike the movie Charles and I watched, is not science or lightly math-based. It's kind of spiritual. It's like the time travel is going to read your heart's deepest desire.
Yes. And like if there is any sort of unfinished past business in your soul that might be able to be cured by a foray back in time, then you get to go.
It's taking you out of there. It's like you better lined up all your traumas if you're about to be a family or a friend who is watching someone on stage in the family and friends pews. There was
also like just the logistics of it, like the mechanics of it. The first time that when she goes back the second time, her purse and the scarf are still there in the pew. They don't go with her. But then when she comes back at the end, she gets to come back with the guitar at the end.
Yeah, the corporeal permanence of,
great job.
Of these things. Oh, thank you. That's actually a phrase I have to say a lot on this podcast.
That is incredible.
It's unclear how it works. But from the moment you see the guitar, you know that's a time-traveling guitar. We got a time-traveling song. We got a time-traveling guitar. We got a couple of time-traveling Nashville residents. And also, okay, so this time travel movie actually alleviated two great time travel anxieties that I have.
Okay.
One is that generally time travel movies are about we cannot disrupt things while we're here, and also how do we get back? Right. It was never an issue how they get back. This pew is an Allegiant flight. It takes you one way, you don't have a good time, and it takes you one way back. So that was no problem. She learns that she can travel back and forth, no problem. And actually what we learn at the end is that once your trauma is resolved and once your business is done, it won't let you back. When Mac comes back and he's already settled everything, he can't go back.
Mac's sitting up and down and saying, no, 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 but then not 30 seconds later, pretty okay with everying.
Yeah, back to signing rowdy.
Yeah.
This is a corporate man.
When she comes back and he was like, I was afraid I lost you forever. There was a part of it that was like, I don't know if you were, man.
No, you seemed like you were already pulling up Rolex.com to just see if you get that watch replaced.
Yeah, well, I had the same kind of sort of like, I don't know how much truth Mac is telling here as I did when he said that the label sent him the wreath specifically to woo him. Because if they're just sending you a wreath, buddy, they don't want you that bad. Like, what's a wreath?
And you kind of think this is like a necklace on the nightstick, leaving a little something behind. He was just using a wreath to get into the leaning on the door.
Oh yeah, I think he's looking for any
Gentry.
I think he's looking for any excuse.
He said, "That's the ugliest wreath I've ever seen. I'm gonna get this gal who's also clearly in love with me." The other anxiety that it alleviated, and correct me if this is subjective, I did not ever fear that the dad and daughter were going to fuck, which is kind of a big issue, or that it was going to be proposed that they do so, which is kind of a big issue in time traveling movies.
No, I was very happy to see them dodge that.
They had no chemistry.
Zero chemistry. Even when they were writing the song together, there was nothing remotely intimate about it. It was just, it was
these were colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah. Work friends. And
they were fine. And things happen pretty quickly once she's back. She is a very good undercover time traveler agent.
And completely unafraid of running into anyone. I mean, we've discussed this, but like she goes and just lives with her cousin. Future.
I believe her first cousin once removed is what that connection would be.
I guess. I mean, Mac, we can get into this later, but Mac goes to his grandmother's flower shop and runs into his younger self, who is deeply depressed because young Gentry just said yes to go to was it a winter formal or something?
Winter formal.
With her high school sweetheart?
Wasn't she like 9 in this flash? Like, I know that he died when she was 16, but I think she was a lot younger during the 1995 performance.
Dude, good. Honestly, you're exactly right.
And was like 14-year-old Mac trying to ask 9-year-old Gentry to the freshman winter formal? What is going on?
Yeah, I mean, Mac is really tall. So like maybe he sprouted early, you know?
Maybe they're 10 and she's little and he's big, and we kind of only see her in like silhouette in Gatlinburg, and Gatlinburg's kind of like a time portal all its own. So
yeah. I mean, quite an Airbnb they got there in Gatlinburg. Like,
just really, gorgeous.
Yeah, lovely.
When he slow motion walked there, I did cry. That was when I was already kind of off the wagon, like things had sort of fallen apart. But yeah, when Mac sees he's also completely like flagrant and reckless with telling young Rita that his grandmother used to have a flower shop. And she's like, oh, which one? It's like, my guy, you're about to list a current flower shop. How are you not thinking about this?
Big fumble by Mac, and could have been a disaster. But I think maybe he's calculating that Rita's just got too much going on with the 70th Christmas celebration at the Opry or something. I don't know, but it did feel like just a total flub on his part. Like that, it could have ended in disaster.
It does seem like there's something about the time traveling magic pew that's like, it's okay. We'll keep this together. Like, we'll keep this safe. You kind of do what you need to do for your emotional well-being and to deal with your grief. And then we'll just kind of keep the space-time continuum together.
I mean, I think that young Rita is one of the most trusting characters in the history of movies.
What a doll.
She offers a place to stay to this, what she thinks is a husband and wife, after knowing them for less than 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
The next morning, Mac's like, hey, could I borrow your car?
The audacity? Like, could I borrow your car? You do not know this woman who has just put you up. I mean, I do think there is something there to like that they looked rich. And so she was like, this must be fine, you know?
Well, and she is thinking like, oh, I'm helping out the record label. Like maybe there's something in it for me a little bit. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, blah, whatever. But they were not, I think it just points to like, these two people were not acting in any way like they were worried about the ramifications of their actions. There was no concern any direction.
No.
From them.
They were there to heal past trauma and get to smooching. And they honestly did both very successfully. I would say that Gentry sorts out what was going on at this time in about 5 minutes flat. And that is because people in this movie are constantly eavesdropping. They are standing like 1 foot from two people talking about like very intense business moves and just like kind of lay up a glass against the door.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I know one of the questions in the rubric is, does this movie have a proper sort of villain?
Yeah, a villain who sows discord.
And while I don't think there was a sort of traditional, you know, capital V villain, Lenny the manager, I'm not a fan.
Kind of a dick, yeah.
Kind of a dick.
And it was a little bit like, I don't know if you get to make all these decisions, but what we find out is that Lenny the manager and whoever actually works for the record label that Gentry, aka Jenny, is kind of impersonating or they're in place of, have decided that the last couple of Waters and Wade albums haven't done their best. And so they need to bring in some other writers to like diversify their next album. And Jet doesn't want to.
Because Jet writes the song. That's what Jet writes the songs. And Jet, he wants to write. What did he say? He wants to write songs that mean something. He's not trying to have, you know, make a play for radio. I love that they name check Brooks and Dunn.
Oh yeah, they said if you want to get to Brooks and Dunn level, you better start singing about some bullshit.
It was when you watch them,
you better start singing about somebody's daughter.
It would have been great if like they brought in some writer and they're like, look, I got this song called My Maria, and Brooks and Dunn won it, but I think that you guys, I want you to sing it.
I have this feeling all the time with my Bingemas guest, Tyler. You've got to write an original holiday movie. The things that you could do, I would have loved, but there is something always about Hallmark movies where it's like, they're legally allowed to say Brooks and Dunn. They are not legally allowed to name check My Maria.
No, I mean, I really wanted, once they got name checked, I was really hoping to maybe see a Brooks and Dunn appearance there at the end of the movie for the 100th. Like, but also, like, you know, they've had a tumultuous relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's been some tension there, and so
Country duos are not easy to pull off unless you are a hit girl group Tiger Lily Gold. I believe somebody was playing a guitar, and I don't know if they count in the numbers or not.
No, I mean, definitely.
Maybe a chick situation.
There were two dudes on the end that were doing something, and they were sort of at the same, depth on the stage as the two girls. But it did when I go look at the pictures. It's just the two girls.
It's the two.
And so
what they need to do is like shore up their creative ambitions real fast, because there's going to be a Lenny out there who's going to try to break them apart for more money.
1,000%.
And so the stakes are that Jet has to kind of decide whether he's going to get on board with this or get off the literal Opry stage by the 23rd of December, the Christmas performance at the Grand Ole Opry, where they are set to be performing, and that we know ultimately was their last performance. But there are a couple moments where you're like, well, are they about to change everything? Because Gentry / Jenny and Mac, who's always just Mac, are completely reckless. And she just starts writing a song with her dad.
Yeah. I mean, there's like the two things with Winters and Wade, where one of them is like, hey man, sorry, like we need to go in a more poppy direction. We're gonna make a push for the radio now.
I can't stop thinking about them singing My Maria. What if they had just started singing it?
It was a blue and sorrow time. But like, there's also the insane proposal from Lenny and Vaughn that's like, yo, Jet, I know you've been having some trouble with this other thing we brought up. Also, we're going on a world tour in 4 days on December 26th. Sorry if you had any plans, but like, this just came together, so we're going.
Yeah.
I don't know if world tours get put together that fast.
They got a fleet of tiny Taylor Swifts at the ready to write this pop country album. And so what they have to do is, we are talking on the 23rd, they have to get in the studio on the 26th and then like immediately take off on a world tour that would mean, once again, name checking. Jet says, my little girl is doing a summer songwriting camp this summer. Yep. And I got to be there when she debuts, whatever her 9-year-old original song, which is completely different than the half-written country Christmas song that they ultimately continue writing together.
Right. And I mean, like, a deleted scene I would love to see is if it is the same song, and when Jet goes to the thing, he's like, wait a second,
I guess fabric of space and time was affected. And then when they are so we're set down the course of understanding immediately that the reason he left this band was because he wanted to dedicate himself to his family. That was more important. And so when he has to really take some time to think about this, he heads out to his special thinking spot.
He puts on his special thinking fringe jacket and goes to his special...
He was not wearing that jacket before.
No. No, and I love that jacket makes one appearance in the movie. That's the Hammer jacket. That's like when we need the tears, we're breaking out the suede fringe.
They also, when he sells his watch so that they can go shop for new clothes because they have arrived with nothing there. They have both.
Right.
One is intentionally time traveled in, so you kind of think she would have brought some cash. Like,
you would think.
I just stopped traveling with cash. That's the first thing your parents teach you is like, you going on a flight, you better take some cash.
Absolutely.
My dad still always asks me if I have cash, and I'm like, for what? Bartering?
Yeah, I can do this with my watch, Dad. Like, what do you need?
But he did something else with his watch, which was pawn it to buy clothes.
Yes.
And this was sort of happening in my movie with Charles. It's like, they're very loose about what is 1995. Like, some of the block printed shirts they get, there is an extended 90s clothing montage of them pretty womaning themselves.
I mean, really sinking their teeth into it to the point that young Rita is doing like the rare cat hands. You know what I mean? Like they are going for it.
Oh, yeah. But then when they go to the sort of formal party, which is where Jet overhears, because everyone is always eavesdropping, overhears Gentry debuting her Christmas country half-written 16-year-old song to Mac, who is enamored while hearing this song.
And I think it should be said, is debuting this song a cappella.
Oh, yeah. I was like, they're not going to have her do it a cappella. There are guitars everywhere. This is a Grand Ole Opry Christmas party. Nope. Nikki Deloach went for it.
She really did. That was the one time in the movie where I did get a little uncomfortable. Watching her sing so sincerely to him. And the voice isn't bad. It's a fine voice. But there was a little bit, like we talked about in the construction of the song, where you're like, something's not landing exactly right. And we see Paisley figure that out in the end.
You need a Paisley to really like pull off the lyrics, which were extremely like icicle centric. They were mostly about fire and icicles. And
the snow melting off the boots at the that's the beginning sort of image we get, is snow melting off boots,
which is such an interesting image.
Yeah.
So she sings it, but when the song is called "Falling Like the Snow," because when I look at your eyes all aglow, girl, I'm falling like the snow. You're something to see in that sweater tonight. And I was like, this is Paisley's version. When she was singing it, I was like, was it written for a heterosexual man? I didn't remember all of the sort of flirtatious undertones of a song that we ultimately know she wrote with her dad. So while there was not chemistry I was seeing on the screen, there was some chemistry in writing about sweaters.
Yeah, some hottie in a sweater. Like, and is she thinking of Mac in a sweater? Like what? Where?
I am.
Aren't we all? But like there was a lot. It was a wordy song. A lot of syllables in these verses. You know what I mean? Like it really, the edges needed smoothing from somebody with the ability of a Paisley.
Oh, a Paisley. But in that scene where her dad first overhears her singing this song and is like, this record executive's got it. I got it. He doesn't just hear her sing the song. He also hears her say that this was a song that she wanted to finish with her dad.
Yeah.
And when she talks about the summer songwriting camp, that's like a completely different sort of concept and memory. She's like, it meant so much to me when my dad saw me sing at the summer songwriting camp that I just wish that I could have had that again. And I had this song when I was 16 that I wanted him to help me finish. And then he died. These are all details that her actual dad overhears her saying all to get back to, while she is wearing a fully sequined, absolutely insane looking dress that did not exist in 1995.
Is this because there's a couple fully sequined ones. Is this the fully sequined one that's got the sequin butterflies on it?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. The other thing that I loved about that is that Mac, being the gentleman and the lovely man that he is, he has given Gentry his coat. Mac is wrapped up like Mary in a gigantic red blanket while he's listening to all of this.
I can't remember if this is just my memory, but did he have that blanket over his head?
I honestly am not sure, and now I do think it. I think so.
I have Mandela affected myself on this one, but in my mind, he had that blanket up over his head and he looked like Mother Teresa. And this scene just brings us so much because it lets her dad know all these details. And so they go on to write this song together.
Well, he also does not approach them because he hears this stuff. He does not actually go over to them. She doesn't find out that he heard all this until they see each other the next day at this it's like some sort of charity Christmas gift wrapping thing that they go to or something.
They get in a fight. When did they get in a fight that then he has to apologize for? And I can't remember if they're apologizing or fighting at the party.
I think he's going to apologize.
Yeah.
I think they got into a little tiff.
Yeah. And then he eavesdrops instead. And then he apologizes at one of the positively dozens of holiday events that the Opry is hosting. There's an ornament signing.
Oh my
There's
God.
a gift wrapping excursion. There are many charitable efforts. They are very busy. Waters and Wade showing up to every single thing.
Winters and Wade.
I keep saying Waters.
You've only done it once, and I'm the guest here.
I've been stopping myself every time because one of the also not exactly a villain, but a time traveler who sows a little discord in the last film was a sailor named Waters.
Incredible.
And this is a Christmas country singer named Winters. And you just have to love what the writers are out there doing.
Oh, well, especially with the other name being Wade. Why wouldn't it? It makes total sense it would be Waters.
It's just gorgeous. And when Wade and Wade sit down together, when old daughter comes to find young dad in his suede jacket, he's like, remind me, when I was eavesdropping on you just 2 days ago, while you've been time traveling in 1995 and taking advantage of the generosity of your future, once removed cousin, Rita, did I hear you say that you really appreciated your dad going to your summer music writing camp? And she's like, yep, I did say that.
Yeah.
Does that help you make any decisions?
And I will say that scene, that's the scene that wound up getting me a little bit. It got a little misty over here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go all as the father of two daughters on you. I'm not going to do that. But there was because I don't think these people are incredible actors, but
they are the actors that they are. They have the actors that we have found ourselves with today.
But that Gentry is really feeling it. When she's talking to her dad, like she's going through something.
I have just checked my notes, Tyler, where I use a very specific system to remember where I cried. And indeed, the first time that I cried, before I sort of flew off the deep end, was when she said, when I was young, my dad was away a lot.
Yes.
But then he made a decision that allowed him to be there a lot more. And he says, and that was important to you? And she says, yeah, it meant everything. And you, a father of daughters, who knows that's somebody's daughter, was very moved. Now it's New York. You have to sing it for it to be country.
There was something about that scene where I was simultaneously thinking is this actually getting to me? Is this actually happening? But it was, and then Mac coming over the top with a nice little moment from Mac talking about
Mac gave me a new philosophy on life. He came in
You read the line that he says, because you wrote it in the doc, and I also wrote it in my notes. Like Mac's thought about this. He really has.
Which Jet also calls out. You've thought about this. Mac just looks him dead in the eye. It's also so funny when they approach because he knows her. And when she comes up, she's like, and this is my husband who will also be helping you through this.
I kept expecting Mac to be like, hey, I'll leave y'all to it. Like him just standing there watching him talk. I was blown away.
He is positively loitering. And he says, let me hit you with this one. If you were able to go forward in time and look back on your life, which decision would you regret not making?
Tell him, Mac.
It's like a quadruple negative, and it works. And that's what Jet says. You sound like you've been thinking about this. And then Mac drops the doozy that he has been thinking about it because the decision he regrets the most is as a teenager not asking a 9-year-old to the dance before she started dating what ultimately became her high school sweetheart. And then her husband, who she got divorced from 3 years ago.
Which I don't think we find out until that moment. I don't remember hearing anything about an ex-husband.
The record label friend of Mac's at one point is like, she's been divorced 3 years, man.
You're right. Good call. You're
right.
Like,
when you going to lay that down, baby? And then just a couple of city boys.
That guy was incredible. And in my memory, he's wearing like a white shirt with like black zipper pockets that are like kind of at a diagonal or something. Like the costume designer, I wrote her name down because I was just so blown away. Lorraine Coppin, just like, congratulations.
She was working hard. There's something I am realizing about those extra 14 minutes, like this movie being the extended cut, that's like warping our minds and memories where like, some of this is right and some of it is spiritual. Like some of us is on our own time traveling Pew journey of remembering this. But Mac, he regrets that decision. And that's when they really realize that they're in love. And then Jet realizes that he has got to get the fuck out of this band and commit to his family. And they make all these decisions. Mac accidentally travels back to 2025.
Dude, can we just pause here for a second? Mm-hmm. If I know that all it takes is me accidentally falling down into this pew, if I'm trying to bring my my new girlfriend's
my future dead father-in-law.
Yeah. If I'm trying to bring him a pick, go around the pews, man.
Hey, maybe walk over a couple less wires. He is bumbling around like someone in an infomercial. Like he's bumbling phones. He's spilling smoothies.
Oh, the water is coming out of the bucket and the water hose is wrapped around his neck. It is. He could not look more unathletic.
Yeah, at that point, his height was really working against him, and he fell ass first into that pew. And he travels back in time, and the pew won't let him travel back again because his business is done. He's confessed his love. They've had their first kiss. I did like this on the Hallmark kiss scale because it was sort of an adult kiss where they addressed that they had kissed. And I liked that. It was romantic.
You could tell that they were excited to be doing it, but also were a little bit like, I am kissing my friend.
Everything's different now.
It wasn't complete. There wasn't total chemistry there, but it was like, we're going to get through it. We're going to get through these early stumbles here. We're going to find our way.
Yeah, things are going to be a little weird at first. I'm going to see you naked, and that is going to be excited and unexpected, and we're just going to work through it. Also, we've done time traveling together, so what can't we conquer?
Yeah, I mean, who are they going to tell about this?
Can I tell you when I really lost it?
Yes.
So she stays there a little bit longer. We are positively skipping over the part where they briefly are like, do we stay in 1995? I am positive those were the 14 additional minutes that were cut for the unextended cut.
Right.
And so she stays there a little longer. She watches her dad do the last performance. So sorry. I mean, Vaughn does offer her a job. The other guy does offer her a job. She does not refuse it. But once Mac leaves, she's like, I'm going to go back. Her dad comes off stage and he checks in with her, this woman he's been spending a lot of time with and writing a song. And he says, your daddy Was he a good daddy? And you can't hit me with a daddy and not expect me not to cry. And she says, the best. And he says, uh-oh, am I going to cry on Bingemas? He says, I hope my daughter one day thinks of me that way. And she says to her dead dad, who doesn't know he's her dad or that he's going to die pretty soon, she will. Yeah. And then I started crying, and then there was a lot going on. Then it was like everything about the dad. When the dad's slow motion walking into Gatlinburg White Christmas. Yes. When they're seeing, so then she time travels back in the pew, and she arrives at the 2025 Christmas anniversary.
Which is a gigantic event with a completely packed house. And like, I wanted so badly, like, give me 2 seconds of the tech booth being like, dude, turn the lights. Why are you turning them up so bright? What's happening?
Oh, and like, unless the lights blinded the camera feed, there is a YouTube video that is about to pop off with a magically appearing woman in it with a guitar.
Holding it like she's never held a guitar before in her life.
She hasn't. She's not a songwriter. She was a child who went to camp. And then basically she doesn't steal her dad's song, but I mean, I want to be clear, I was actively still crying when she pops onto the stage right as Winters, the dad's partner, is coming on stage.
Yeah, Vaughn's already up there, and then I think it's the bright light maybe that makes him look back in some weird way or something.
And then he sees her, and when he said, because he wasn't expecting her to come, she had said no because of kind of an ego thing where she didn't want to step into the circle even though she fucking loves her dad. He says, well, hey, Gentry, glad you could make it. And I was like, oh boy, all these old men, professing paternal love and feelings. It was a lot. And then he invites her up.
Yeah.
She talks about her dad for a while. Gotta say, it wasn't the best. Not that meaningful.
No, big speech. And also, like, the people in the audience in real life are so mad that this is happening. Yeah. Like, I'm not here to hear the daughter give a big weepy spiel about her dad. Like, in the world of this movie, Winters is like a star. They're wanting to hear from him.
I imagine they're also wanting to hear him sing.
Yes.
I had this exact same thought of like, this is a Star is Born moment where like, yes, Lady Gaga's incredible. The voice is so good. But if, Jack is inviting Allie on stage and everyone's there for the Jack concert, they're like, no thanks to the cocktail waitress now singing the duet.
Another Star is Born comparison I would make is...
And you're right. These movies are very similar.
Very similar. Jackson Maine doesn't have a ton of time with that song to throw together an arrangement that is fit for a festival performance. And neither does Brad Paisley. Can't have been sitting with this song for that long. And he's already got all these like guitar riffs and everything planned for this. That he knows that musically it's completely on point. Like, I get he's one of the greatest guitar players in the world. I don't even, you need a little bit of a heads up there if you're singing a new song, right?
Okay. Well, this is where the magic becomes very unclear. Because
like, were the guitar tabs on the thing? Like, what's going on?
And how long has he been sitting with it? Because in the world that we existed in before pew-based time travel, I don't think this song existed. Right. And then it started existing in the current 2025 world recently. And in an even more extended cut, perhaps Vaughn would explain how this piece of paper magically came to be in his possession.
Yeah.
But instead, what he says, I actually thought they weren't going to address it because that's what a Hallmark movie can do. That's why it can do time travel, is because They don't have to do the details. Like, it can just be unexplained and nothing. But instead, they're kind of like, we're going to close the loop on this. And she sits down with Vaughn after Brad Paisley performed her song. And she says, how? And he says, all I know for sure is that Opry magic and Christmas magic together make a powerful force. I don't know a lot of things in this world, Tyler, but I know that.
Were you also blown away that she actually sat down in the pew again? You want to talk about living on the edge, Gentry. Like,
your ass is going to get stuck. And like, the thing is, you don't know what her other traumas are that she hasn't dealt with. That could be taking you back to your divorce. Like, that could be taking you back any which way. I guess it is pew to pew travel. You leave in the pew, you stay in the pew.
That's a good point. I didn't think so. It is location based.
It does have to kind of be Opry related.
Right.
But no, I actually did not notice at all that she happily sat down in that pew again.
I really thought we were going to get some sort of like attempt at a comedy moment where Vaughn's like, why don't you sit down next to me and listen? And she's like, I'll stand. Thanks. You know what I mean? I thought we were going to get something.
Yeah, that would have been good. I was never worried about the dad hitting on his daughter, but I was kind of worried about what was developing between Vaughn and the daughter.
Especially the early meeting.
Honestly, in both timelines, I was like, these people have some chemistry.
Yes. Well, like, especially once he wasn't mad at all about her impersonating essentially their boss. When that happened,
he was about to be the villain who sows discord, because he finds out she's been faking it and that she's kind of been like really inserting herself in this professional situation as a record executive. And he finds out that he assumes that she is just a songwriter trying to make it. And then he's like, how about I give you a job?
Yeah.
And she says, okay. It's her lifelong dream. What do you think is next for Gentry? You think she's going to get that CMA Songwriter of the Year award? Think she's about to get a matching watch with a Manager of the Year, Mac?
I think that Mac starts representing her immediately. I think that there is some tension, almost like I think there's tension the next day where she's like, okay, like, let's get started. What are you thinking for me? And he's like, babe, I got it. Like, I'm supposed to meet with Rowdy for breakfast. Like, I gotta go. Like, I
Rowdy's
gotta go.
My money maker. You're kind of like my passion project.
Don't get me wrong.
We'll just see when I find time for you.
Don't get me wrong. You are somebody's daughter, but this guy's got some. How about Bill Anderson there at the end being like, I've seen your stuff on TikTok and it's just, I've never believed anything less in my life. Like that.
There was something about like the last 10 minutes of this movie where the wheels were really coming off. It was like, I'd been enjoying the original Christmas country music. I'd been enjoying finding new artists who I love. I enjoyed the time travel. The smooching, and then like in the last, there was something, I think there was like a cameo quota where they were like, we gotta get all these people in here.
Yeah. Well, and
there were
some
so
people,
many.
Like Pam Tillis doesn't get any big moment, and that's like one of the biggest names they've got.
And like visually recognizable. You know, like it's like, yes, I immediately know who that is. And they just kind of are like montaging her literally in the background.
That for me was like, why does she not get the I touch the plaque and say a prayer before I go out there? She's a way bigger, and maybe they don't have Pam Tillis money.
I was just thinking that because they do not.
Yeah,
she said, "I'll say a couple words, but you're not getting a character beat."
Yeah.
Oh, Tyler, I can't believe you watched this movie with me. It's a dream, a pleasure. I'm already dying to assign you an even more insane movie next year.
I can't wait. This was a blast. I'm very excited to show other people this movie and get their takes.
Give me the official sister rating when you have it. It's the most important rating we have in the original holiday universe. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you to Sasha. Thank you, Belle. Thank you, Ashleigh. We will see you back here next week for no time travel, but who the hell knows what could be happening next. I cannot believe, just like every week, the people I've gotten to do this with me. It's a dream. Merry Bingemas to all, and to all a good pod.